Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti मूर्ति भेद विभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So thank you all for joining today. Today we are very happy to have Swami Shankaranandaji with us. He is calling in from Mysuru. As many of you know, Swami Shankaranandaji most recently was the Acharya at Darsha Vidya Gurukulam in Anaikatti, Coimbatore. And now he's spending some time at Mysuru. So he was deeply interested in our Shastram. And so he started studying under Swami Dhyanandaji in the US, where he was working in his Purvashrama. And so he spent many years studying under Swamiji. And he also studied under Swami Pratyakbodhanandaji. Many of you know Swami Viditatmanandaji, Swami Tattvavidanandaji. Some of you have studied under him also. And so Swamiji, having studied under Swamiji's at the ashram, visiting the ashram, Swamiji developed deeper interest in the Shastram, and he chose to quit his job. He was in the financial services industry. He was working in companies like Goldman Sachs, and then he joined the ashram at Nagpur, Arsha Vijnana Gurukulam, in 2005. And so he took the long-term course, studied there for 3.5 years under Swami Prakashanandaji and Swami Dayanandaji. And so I was studying. So after that, I mean, I was communicating with him during that time. But then one day I got an email, no, I'm studying in the ashram. And so that's when I knew Swamiji had gone there. Then he came to Coimbatore ashram and then started teaching there, started supporting Puja Swamiji in the long-term courses there. And then he went back to the US. And so long before we started these online classes, Swamiji had started the online classes teaching Panini grammar. I remember have very good memories of that. I could attend, although I could not keep up the full course. I attended for about 6 months, if I remember. And so he was teaching Panini grammar at that time. Swamiji is an expert at this, the science of Sanskrit, if you want to call that, developed by Panini Maharshi. And and then he used to teach in the ashram in Salisbury. Then he came back to India and settled down here. And when I returned from the US in 2015, and at that time I just visited the ashram, people like us, we don't have much to do. If you have an opportunity, we will immediately go to the ashram. And so I ended up there, and there was a long-term course going on. And so I was attending for a day or two. Then I came back home. And on the way back, Swamiji, we struck a conversation, and I told Swamiji I had returned back to India, etc. And then what are you planning to do? He asked me. I said, nothing, Swamiji, and maybe stay here for a couple of months, 3 months. I quit my job, and we will see, Swamiji. So Swamiji said, why don't you join the course? And for me, it was a bit of it was like music to my ears on the one hand, but on the other hand, I did not expect that. And I had expressed my interest to join the course uh, many years ago. And so when I heard this, I took I took no time in asking my parents' permission to join the course, and I have to thank Swamiji at a personal level for that moment that he made that happen for me, that I could attend the course at Anaikatti. And Swamiji is also a great administrator. He was the acharya at ashram, but also he was managing all the affairs of the ashram. Ashram is pretty big and a lot of activities going on throughout the day. And so with that introduction, I want please welcome Swamiji, Swami Shankaranandaji. Swamiji, we as the students we are talking to, you are addressing today are studying Bhagavad Gita, and we started this class about a year ago, November, December of last year. So we've just completed the second chapter and getting into the third chapter. And so we are very happy to have you, Swamiji. I'm going to unmute you right now. Yeah, you're welcome to unmute yourself, Swamiji.
We'll start in a moment.
And Swamiji, one of the things you can do is if...
Shall I start?
Yeah, please, Swamiji.
Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. So, Jaikumar ji gave a very long introduction. It was all not necessary. He didn't tell you something which I will tell you. So Jaikumar ji is a good friend of mine, okay? We both were studying together in Sailorsburg in some camps. And I still remember 1996, December, we had a wonderful camp by Puja Swamiji on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Everything is dear to oneself only so far as it invokes the pleased self. This was the topic of that camp for 1 week. And I can say that if there is one event that changed my life, that was it. And Jaikumar ji was with me in that camp. So I just happened to be in orange and he's in white. That's the only difference, okay? So all other things he said, you can discount. Those don't count. What really counts ultimately is whether what we hear in the Shastra, can we make it our own? You know, what we do, how we do, how long we study, how many sadhanas you follow. All this is only for one thing. To gain that insight, which is not Gita's insight, it is my insight. If we can make it that, then it's done its job. And if it hasn't done it, we have to still keep working on it till the cows come home, so to say. There's no other choice. In this Shastra, there is no other choice. Because the truth is, I am free. But yet, it's so near and seems so far. No? So, it is something durat suduram. Antikat antikaha. It is farther from the farthest for one who cannot appreciate it. And it is closer than the closest for one for whom this is understood. Then the whole teaching is what basically you have to see that I am what I want to be. Want to be only till I understand I am what I want to be. There is no wanting after that. While every want is trying to gain something which I don't have, when one discerns that I have always been wanting something more, and how many other wants I gained, I still remain wanting. And if I want to solve that problem, then alone the spiritual pursuit really begins to even take off. Because until then, this is one more piece of knowledge. I know so many things, right? And I know one more thing now. Knowing one more thing, what is it going to do to you? I mean, I'm sure most of you are well educated. So you've had degrees, double degrees, triple degrees. What did each degree do to you? It definitely made you better informed. But did it make you any less wanting? So that is what a spiritual pursuit means. When you understand the problem is centered on myself, and therefore the solution cannot be outside. But even after hearing this 100 times, even after studying it, the mind still tries to solve the problem looking out. This is why I said it's all fine, but ultimately what matters is, has this knowledge become my knowledge? Wherein I say, yes, what Krishna says, I can also say. So what did Krishna begin with? Ashocyananvashocastvam pragyavadanshya bhashase. 2:11. Gatasoon agatasoonscha nanushocanti panditaha. You're grieving over something which need not be grieved about. And still, you talk as though you're a pandita, which means you are not. Nanushocanti panditaha. Then he says, what, it's not that you are not born. Natvevaham natu jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha na chaiva na bhavishyamah sarve vaymatah param. And after that, the next verse begins. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhiras tatra na muhyati. The key word there is dehin. What is dehin? What is deha? Deha, you should know. What is deha? This body, right? Dehin is what? Deha asya asti iti dehin. Literally means one who has a body. But Sanskrit is a beautiful language. You don't have only one single meaning. It's not a possession here. It is an association. Literally an association where you should finally be able to say, I sport this body. Means you have it, it's okay. You don't have it also, it's okay. That is the dehin there. It is not a association like dhanaha asya asti iti dhanin. Who is dhanin? One who has wealth. Who is manin? One who claims respect. Mani. So the word here is dehin. Deha asya asti dehin. To explain this kind of an understanding as to what is sporting, Puja Swami said, at one point, that a person who has a very prominent mustache, prominent mustache. And if you tell the fellow to shave it, he can't. Because his whole identity is his mustache. Okay? That is not called sporting a mustache. That is having an identity with the mustache. What is sporting? If the mustache is there, fine. If it's not there, it's equally fine. This is called sporting a mustache. Now, can I get to the point where I sport a body, where I sport a mind? Which means the mind's problems do not belong to me. The body's problems do not belong to me. So what does Bhagavan want to say by saying Dehinosmin yatha dehe? Hey Arjuna, through Arjuna, all of us, okay? What is he trying to say? Do you see a Dehi other than the Dehin? Do you see something other than the body, mind, sense complex in your self-identity? Or all you see is one lump called Deha? If you see only one, you're not going to move further. So right in the beginning, he, without using any technical jargon, he just says, Dehi knows minyatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. Which means for Arjuna to go any further in the teaching, he has to first recognize what there is someone, and to translate literally, you'll say what Dehin, indweller. Inside the Deha, you can say Dehin is inside the Deha. In a way. It's not inside, okay? Dehin is not located in the Deha. Dehin is located in the Deha. Like when you look at the mirror, your face is located in the mirror. Is it located in the mirror? Or is it not located in the mirror? In a way, it is located in the mirror. Right? But in a way, it's not located in the mirror. Correct? So you have to be able to see that that is how this Dehin is, which means it is not literally there. But without a mirror, can you see your face? Without a reflecting medium, you don't. You can't see. So if I want to put my tilakam, I need something to look at my face. And though I look at the mirror and see the image there, I don't put the chandanam on the mirror like this. Right? Where do I put it? I put it here only, not there. Same way, hey Arjuna, you recognize there's a Dehi who is what? Who sports in this body, and therefore Dehino asmin. Like for this person in this Deha, who manifests through this Deha, who plays, who does vyavahara through this Deha. Yatha kaumaram yauvanam jara. There is youth, kaumaram. Sorry, there is the phase before youth, kaumaram. Then yauvanam, youth, yuva. Then jara, he leaves everything else behind. Jara, old age. Tatha, in the same manner, dehantara prapti. You gain one more deha, one more body. Dhiras tatra namuhyati. Person doesn't get confused now and take himself for the body, because I am the one who saw this child, who saw this teenager, who saw this youth, who saw this middle-ager, who saw the middle-age crisis. Then he saw the old age. Then what? Hey, I am the observer of all these. I am not any of these. If I am these, I couldn't be observing them. So the first step is to understand there's a Dehi distinct from the Deha. If a Dehi distinct from the Deha is understood, now what do you have? You have one Dehi, right? Or you may think there are many Dehis, because so many bodies are there. So that Dehi, so you have 100 mirrors. All right, you're in a room with 100 mirrors. How many, and when you enter, how many images do you see? Crossed mirrors. How many images do you see? Countless images you will see, mirror images. Do you think there are many of you or only one of you? Only one. So you extend that here. What do you understand? There are not many dehis. There's only one dehi, which means the dehi here and the dehi in every one of these bodies is only one. Again, you have to gain that understanding. Even if you gain that, now what? There is one dehi and there are countless other things around. Countless other things. How can you say there's only one reality and that is you? Therefore, the second and more difficult part after having discerned Dehi is to see that everything other than the Dehi has no independent existence. To see that all the Deha Bhedas are asat or mithya. Hope all of you by now, having studied Sankhya Yoga, you all should know what is mithya, what is satyam. Okay? Because when Swamiji's disciples teach, if they don't teach mithya and satyam, they haven't taught anything. So we are very sure that it will be done. Because you cannot say, Swamiji, I know everything. Yes, I know a lot of things, Swamiji. Only one thing I don't know. What is mithya, what is satya, I don't know. If you don't know that, then you don't know anything in Vedanta. Okay. So what is satyam? That which stands independently. Abadhitam satyam. That which cannot be denied is satyam. Trikaleshu tishtati iti satyam. That which is in all three periods of time is satyam. And what is everything else? Mithya. What is mithya? It is a dependent reality. How do you know something is mithya? Yad vicharam nasahate tan mithya. That which cannot stand inquiry. Until you inquire, it stands as though it is real. When you inquire into it really, it falls apart. It should fall apart. Otherwise, it is satyam. So what is Sankhya Yoga? What is Sankhya? Samyak khyayate iti Sankhya. Khyayate, vyakhyayate. Described very well clearly as it stands. Something explained as it is. Yathavastu. That is called Sankhya. So what is Sankhya now? When you know a thing as it is, which means when you know the Dehi as it is, in that knowing the Dehi as it is, you also know everything else is not as real. Then what is its reality? Dehi is its reality. This is the knowledge. This is all the knowledge. Right? And it was said long ago in second chapter. Right? What did he say? Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo ashoshya evacha nitya sarvagatasthānuhu achaloyam sanatanaha avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam na anushochitum arhasi. Bhagavan finished his teaching right there. You know, it is, if you understand this one, which is avyakta, not manifest as another object, and nityam, not in time. It is even the truth of time. If you know this, nanushochitum arhasi. Having understood this one reality, who is the Dehi, there is no reason for you to grieve. There's no reason. But then, if you didn't understand it, which means the knowledge didn't take place, then what should I do? I have to start all over again. Yesha te bihita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. So Bhagavan says, if whatever you have to be told, you already been told. समझने वाले समझ गए, जो ना समझे वो अनाड़ी है. You know, those who have to understand would have understood with this much. If you didn't understand, means something is lacking. What is lacking? The mind which can grasp this understanding is lacking. The preparation that it calls for a person to gain this understanding is lacking. Therefore, yesha te abhihita. Whatever has to be told was told to you, very clearly told to you. How? Sankhya, in proper knowledge. Now, if you still didn't understand it, yesha te abhihita sankhya buddhi yoge tu imam shrunu. Now you listen to karma yoga, buddhi yoga. Buddhya yuktaha. Having gained that preparedness based on that understanding of karma yoga, buddhya yuktaha yaya karma bandham prahasyasi he partha. Prahasyasi. What is hasyasi? Ha tyage. You will give up. You will drop. What? Karma bandham. You will drop this bondage caused by your taking yourself to be a karta bhokta, a doer, an experiencer. This is what he said. So this essentially shows you the two main topics of Shastra. What are they? Sankhya and Yoga. Only two topics. Whole Gita, primarily, not only, primarily two topics. Sankhya, Yoga. Sankhya is talking of vastu, of what is, the realities. And Yoga is helping a person to gain whatever is needed to be able to assimilate and own up Sankhya. Okay. And that you're seeing, I believe you have started third chapter. So I thought I will land there as well. So what is third chapter? Lokesmin dvividha nishtha. That's done, right, Jaykumarji? Yeah. Lokesmin dvividha nishtha. Pura prokta mayanagha. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Karma yogena yoginam. Pura prokta. Long ago I have taught this. What did he teach? What did Krishna teach long ago? Dvividha nishtha. A twofold lifestyle. What is the twofold lifestyle? Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Karma yogena yoginam. Jnana, the exclusive pursuit of knowledge. Exclusive means what? To the exception of any other pursuit. Purely a pursuit of knowledge. For whom? Sankhyanam. Who is Sankhya now? Vashikara will say Sannyasinam. For people who have gained the maturity, the emotional growth necessary, so that they don't have any other interest now. They have only one goal. And they have the capacity to stay with that one pursuit only. Therefore, Sankhya there is a sannyasi. And then who's the other person now? Karma yogena yoginam. So the second person also is pursuing the same truth. But what changed? The lifestyle is different. What is the lifestyle? It is the pursuit of Dhyanam along with doing what is to be done. It is not an exclusive pursuit of Dhyanam where you say, I have no other obligations or duties in society. Sannyasa means you are freed from all obligations. But before you get to that sannyasa, you have to have the ability. One has to have the ability to be a sannyasi. Changing the dress you can do tomorrow. Okay? Wearing orange doesn't make a difference. I'm seeing several people with orange also here in the class. Okay? So wearing orange is easy. It's not hard. But changing what's inside doesn't change even after wearing orange. I will tell you that with personal experience, okay? That wearing orange doesn't mean you're mature entirely. You still need to grow. Growth does not stop till you have grown enough. While knowledge cannot be improved upon, inner growth has no limit. This is one of Puja Swamiji's gems. Because knowledge cannot be improved upon. When we are saying all that is here is one reality and that is you, how are you going to improve upon it? There is no second thing. There is no guna in that object, in that vastu. How are you going to improve upon it? To improve means you have to either add something or take away something, add some finer things, take away some blemishes. If something is nirgunam, nirguna means free from any attributes. How will you talk of better and worse? There's no way. Therefore, Dhyanam means the person who understands it cannot be improved upon. But a person in terms of his vyavahara, in terms of his emotion, etc., this is a body which is trigunatmika. Sattva, rajas, tamas. And whatever is trigunatmika is changing and can change further. Therefore, there is no end to how much you can improve. So the kashaya, the sannyasi's dress is supposed to speak of what? His commitment, her commitment, right? And the color is orange, flame, knowledge, burns away the ignorance, right? So this is what is this? What is this when a person wears orange? It should remind me of my commitment. It is not a badge of honor. It is not a claim for I am better than thou. I'm not holier than you. But it is wearing my commitment. Informing you what I consider my commitment or why I took to this. Nothing more than that. So you will see later in the Gita that yat sankhyaih prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate. Whatever is gained by a sankhya, a person who is living a life of sannyasa, tad yogaih api gamyate eva. That same solution, that same that space, that freedom is gained also by one who is living the life of a yogi, karma yogi. Ekam sankhyam cha yogancha yaha pashyati saha eva pashyati. One who sees that irrespective of your lifestyle, the freedom is the same. There is no difference between a karma yogi and a sankhya. Why I'm saying all this? Because all of you are not sannyasis. And some people sometimes have value. I want to take sannyasa. I want you to understand sannyasa doesn't change anything. What needs to change is the stuff inside. Sannyasi and yogi both have one thing in common. What is in common? Both of them are students of Bhagavad Gita. Without that, there is no goal. There is no end to be gained. Because what is the problem? The problem is centered on avidya, ignorance, not knowing who I am. The solution can only be what? If the problem is based on ignorance, solution can be based on what? On doing 100 things? On what? Only one. That wrong understanding has to be removed and replaced by what? Right understanding. How do you gain understanding? By knowledge. Right knowledge. How do you gain knowledge? By exposing yourself to a means of knowledge, pramana. What is the means of knowledge for this? Knowledge of self. You can't objectify yourself. So somebody will tell you, if the problem is centered on the self, why do you look at Gita? Don't look at Gita. What should you do? Look at yourself. How? Who am I? Try doing it. So suppose you don't know physics, okay? And you ask, I don't know physics. What is law of relativity? Sit in Dhyanam for 100 years. Will you gain it? How will you know what you don't know just by sitting and asking a question when you don't know? You better ask somebody who knows. That is what is called parampara. That is why I'm teaching parampara. And more interestingly, relativity, maybe by asking what is relativity, one day you will discern it because you have a head and you can figure it out. Because it's what you're figuring out is something other than you. But when you want to figure out that what you know yourself to be is a mistake, this doesn't work. You should know why study, why Shastra, why teacher, why it's important. Why not apne aap? By myself, I'll do it. Because this is about negating the notions you have about yourself. In every other knowledge, you will remain intact exactly as you were before you gain the knowledge and after you gain the knowledge. You remain the same. You have one more piece of knowledge. Before you went to the PhD program, you were not doctor. Okay, you didn't have a title. Doctor so-and-so. Now you are what? You're not just anybody, you're also a doctor, PhD. Are you different? Yes, I am more knowledgeable. I'm not asking what you have extra with you. Are you different? I have improved as a human being. Are you different? You remain the same. You retain your identity. I am so-and-so. Born on so-and-so date. In so-and-so place. And till now, I said I had studied till, postgraduate. Now I have finished my doctoral study. Right? This much you can do with any other study. But what is distinct about this study? You started, the famous example is what? A salt doll decides to find out the depth of the ocean. And it dives into the ocean. Does it come back? What is there to come back? It becomes one with the ocean. This is the story of ours, okay? You start to know the truth of yourself as distinct from everything else. And then where do you end? There is only one. That old I is buried, dead and buried. It's gone. But it doesn't get buried easily. Because, it's very difficult to, and people are afraid also. How can you end up negating yourself? What kind of knowledge is this? At least right now I'm somebody. Okay? I was a nobody. By studying PhD, I became a somebody. Now you want to convert me to a nobody again? It's not a done deal. I want to remain somebody and become somebody more significant. This is how we have lived life. I had $100,000. I want to make $1 million. I have $1 million. I want to make $1 billion. Then I am somebody bigger, right? So what is the attempt? I retain myself and I add something to my portfolio. How much ever portfolio size you have, if your mahima, your glory, depends on the size and nature of your portfolio, it means your uh, self-esteem, your claim to fame is dependent on something other than you. Your anya mahima means your mahima, your glory depends on something other than you, which is separable from you, which is not you. Which means for any reason, if you are separated from what makes you feel good about yourself, you will be back to square one. What is it which you cannot be separated from? If that is your source of glory, your joy, your fullness, then nothing can take it away from you. Therefore, here in this Shastra, what we are trying to say is we want to know myself as the one who depends on nothing else for his satisfaction. That is the Dehi. But it is not just saying consciousness, awareness. Because even now you are conscious and aware. There's no doubt about it. Otherwise, you won't be sitting here. Right? You're conscious and aware. But knowing I'm consciousness doesn't remove the world. The world is also there. Therefore, saying I'm just consciousness can lead to dissociation. I'm not asangaha, asangoham. No? Satchidananda rupoham. Then what is all this? Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. Many of you may have heard this Vedanta. You sing very nicely. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. Nacha shrotra jihve, nacha grana netre, nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayu. Leave the last part out. This much you hold on to. I am not the mind, I am not the body. This is called dissociation, okay? What is true knowledge? I am not the body, but the body is not separate from me. Okay? So Dehin is not Deha, but Deha has no being independent of the Dehin. Two words. Dehin, Deha. This is what needs to be understood. And for that we started by saying, this knowledge is only thing which will solve the problem centered on myself. And for knowledge, I said you go to Pramana, right? And Pramana, the way this Pramana is, because you have to negate yourself. If you are wielding the Pramana yourself, that you who is wielding the Pramana remains intact. Therefore, to help knock that out is why a guru is brought in. Because your ego is not an operation. You surrender your ego to the Shastra wielded by the Guru. Surrender is not something where you are going and touching the feet of somebody. That is not surrender here. The surrender is, I ask you, do you see me right now? Yes? Yeah. What color am I wearing? Orange, you will say. I say, no, you're wrong. I'm wearing green clothes. I'm wearing green clothes. Do you agree with me or no? No. Don't you respect me? I'm your guru right now. Surrender to me. I am wearing green clothes. Can you surrender? You will ask Jayakumar ji, can you send this Swami away? We want to listen to somebody who has a proper thinking head. That's what you'll have to tell him. Or you'll ask me, Swami, do you mean green is a more synonym for orange? No, no, I don't mean that at all. Orange is different, green is different. Now you have a problem. You cannot surrender to this Swami. It's impossible, okay? What do you surrender to? Now I ask you, what makes you say this is not green? What makes you say that? Swamiji, I see with my own eyes. Wonderful. Now I ask you, suppose I say, you see with your eyes. Now please see with your nose. Don't use your eyes. Please see with your nose. See, this is green. What will you say? What will you say? Can you see with your nose? You can't. So what is it that you will trust as far as color goes? Do you trust anything except your eyes? Do you? When it comes to color? When it comes to shape? Shape, you can feel it out. Color. Nothing else. Therefore, I would say you surrender to your eyes to know color. Understand what is surrender? You surrender to your eyes to know what is color, which means to know anything, you let the means of knowledge decide what the knowledge is. You have no other way. No other way. You cannot use your ears and say, I hear green colors, Swamiji. I don't see. Then you need to go to a better institution. Institutionalized you will be. So then, in the way you trust your eyes to reveal color, do you trust the words of the Shastra? That is called Pramana Buddhi. Which means, I don't try to judge the Shastra based on my understanding. Normally, our approach is, I go to a teacher, and if what he says is in line with what I know, then he's a great teacher. And if what he says negates my understanding, then I question the teacher. Especially in the spiritual realm, it is quite common. The teacher should be funny, should look different. He should not be ordinary. You know? So, therefore, if he says something, it's a matter to be experienced. Ah, that sounds good. Because, your logic has no place to go now. Has no place to go. So it feels good. Ah. And Swami, why don't you know? You will know in time. You have a nice air, and I tell you, you will know in time. In the white heat of meditation, it will all come together. Now, you can go along with that because there's nothing to question. But I tell you what, there is nothing mystic about it. All that is here is you. How can it be? Doesn't make sense. This is called Ashraddha. Shraddha. Okay. So what is Pramana? Shraddha in Pramana. You should be able to have the same trust in the Shastra as you trust your eyes to see a form. So if your eyes are telling you this orange, even if I plead with you, please see it is green, won't work. You will question my words and try to understand if I have another meaning for it. But you will not accept what I'm saying as it is. You have to make sure it goes along with what your eyes report to you. You may be willing to buy an idea that green is another word for orange, though it's very confusing. But you cannot just swallow what I'm saying to you. And we don't want you to swallow. But then how can I be everything? That is why it's a matter to be understood. That is why it is Jnana Vishayam. If it was as simple, if I tell you understand, it's like 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Rather, 2 is equal to 2. If I tell you what's the big deal, anybody knows it. But to understand 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 requires knowledge. And it requires a child who has grown enough to understand 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. You can't teach it to a 6-month-old infant. And what is this whole study? You have to understand Tat Tvam Asi. You are the whole. That is also an equation. And that equation to understand requires a mind which is ready to understand the equation. And that mind gaining is really the hard part. Understanding equation is very easy. A child, a 6-month-old, a 1-year-old, how much ever you try to push in 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, it won't work. Father is PhD in maths. Mother is double PhD in maths. Great-grandfather was a mathematician. Still, 6-month-old don't understand. Okay? But when it is 5 years old or 6 years old, and you just teach it, 2 is this, 3 is this, 2 plus 3 is 5, it just sinks in. How much did you struggle to know 2 plus 3 is equal to 5? Think about it. Did you struggle? At some age you may have, but how much? Not much. Why? Because you are prepared. That's what I find is the most challenging, the most difficult. Because cognitively you'll understand everything that is taught in Gita. But it won't ring true. You are here for what? For the cake. I am happy, I am free. And you don't get the cake. You keep told every time, the cake is with you. The cake is with you. You are the cake. No, I don't see it. Then where's the cake? It doesn't seem to work. That can lead you to frustration. That can lead you to say, Jay Kumar is not a good teacher. That can lead you to say, Vedanta is useless. That can lead you all over. So what's important is we need to pay attention to the Gita Shastram for its unique contribution. At the end of the chapter, what do you say? We finished 2nd chapter, right? 1st and 2nd. What did you say at the end? Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyodhyayaha. Correct? What are the 2 words there? Brahma Vidyayam, 2 significant words. Brahma Vidyayam. Then Yoga Shastre. What is the difference between the 2? Brahma Vidya is the knowledge of Brahman. What is the knowledge? What is the knowledge? Atma eva Brahma. Aham Brahma Asmi. That is the knowledge. That is all you need. Why this Yoga Shastra in between? That is what we need. What is Yoga Shastra? What is yoga? Yujyate anena iti yoga. That which connects you to something is called yoga. What is yoga here connecting you to? What is your interest? Brahmajnanam. What is it that enables you to connect to Brahmajnanam, the preparedness, that which teaches the preparedness, helps you become prepared, is yoga. Therefore, the entire Shastra either is going to give you Brahmajnanam, and if it doesn't give you that, what will it be? It has to be connected. It has to be yoga. Avantar Vakya. Mahavakya is the Shastra's Tatparya. Mahavakya is you are the whole. You are what you want to be. What is Avantar Vakya? Every other Vakya. If all you need is Mahavakya, why have other Vakyas? Vakya is a sentence, a teaching. We say entire Shastra has Eka Vakyata. Only one thing it's trying to teach. What is that? You are what you want to be. You are the whole. Then what is yoga? That which will help you connect. You will find, you go to any Upanishad, the yoga aspect is very subdued. So it will tell you, you are wonderful, you are Indra, you are Devendra, you are Brahman. But when you don't understand, it says, if you were ready, you would have understood it. That's what it is. See, Kenopanishad, brilliant Upanishad, very short. Whole Upanishad is taught. Okay? And then one student is a very smart alike. He spins the Upanishad and shows the teacher he understood it. Another student says, Upanishadam bo bruhi, after the whole Upanishad is over. It's like saying, so Jay Kumarji finishes the whole Gita and then you tell him, and you ask him, please tell me what is Atma? What would he say? What should he say? Even after second chapter, what should he say? Hey, what I told you is Atma only. That is what the teacher also told there in Ken Upanishad. He says, Hey, Upanishadam Ukta. I did teach you the Upanishad and not some silly Upanishad. Brahmi. I taught you an Upanishad which talks about Brahman only. But the teacher was very kind. The word Upanishad also means a secret. It means a secret. Okay? Upanishad, in our normal understanding, is that which will take you near to yourself, destroy your ignorance, and make you see you are the nearest to yourself. That is Upanishad. Upanishad. That Shad Dhatu has got three meanings, which makes this meaning for Upanishad possible. It's that which weakens, that which uproots, and that which makes you reach. All three meanings are there for what Shad in Upanishad. So here the Guru says, but the word Upanishad also has a meaning, as I said, a secret. So the Guru says, see, the Upanishad I have told you, one secret I have told you, but to unlock that secret, you need another secret. What is that? That the understanding of that Upanishad stands on something, requires some support. What does it stand on? He says, Tasya tapaha yajna tapaha is pratishtha. I don't remember all the words there. Tasya damo, Tasya damo yajna tapaha pratishtha. Damaha. Damaha means essay over one's shama dama, both are included in dama. Essay over one's mind. Tapas, a life of religious discipline. These are its pratishtha, its feet. A man stands on his feet, not on his head. Shirshasana is different. Okay? You have to stand on something. Otherwise, you can't stand. Standing is on the feet. Therefore, the feet on which this knowledge stands are these. Tapaha, damaha. And what is its very ayatanam, its basis? Satyamayatanam. Truth is its basis. You cannot not hold on to truth, because without truth it won't come. Vedas sarvangani. All the Vedas are just its limbs. So what does it mean? In order to gain the Upanishad knowledge, this is the second Upanishad I'm telling you, the secret, that you need to grow into that person who is able to understand. And that is gained by being committed to Satyam, having a life of religious discipline, right? Having gained that internal composure, the emotional maturity, which is said by the word Dhamma. And then Vedas Sarvangani, all the Vedas, what they teach is to be understood. This is where you will gain it. That's how Upanishad ends there. So I'm saying we should also not end up like the second student. That's where Gita is a big help, because no Upanishad will teach you how to live as well as Gita does. Upanishad tells you in like hints and, briefly it'll tell you, but the larger canvas is Gita. Of course, there's even larger canvas in Mahabharata, in Puranas, etc. But that canvas has so much other things, you have to now start sifting what is right, what is wrong. So Gita is really a wonderful text, which is on neither extreme. And it's very, very useful to just live life, whether you gain this Dhyanam or not. You at least gain the yoga. You gain that inner preparedness. If you are all sitting here early morning for a class, it means you already have some samskara. You have gained some insight, otherwise you won't be here. Which means you are all in some way or form a yoga brashta. Which means you had taken to this life, but somehow you got sidetracked. That's what brought you back. So it's a great way to stay with it, because today's life, even if you want to take sannyasa, society doesn't support a sannyasi. If you go around saying, give me bhiksha, somebody will come and take a stick and tell you, hey, you have a strong body, go work. Why are you asking for bhiksha? Right? Therefore, you need to understand that the varnashrama system is as good as dead today. The value of this knowledge is no longer what it was before. There were sadhus in every community, and they were respected, and they could live. A person who even like you, if you choose to go for this pursuit, would have been respected in society. And society will be happy to support you. Today, that's not the case. So we have to continue to work. We have to continue to do what we have to do. Then how do I do that along with my being focused on this knowledge? That's where sannyasa, Sankhya yoga, leave alone. Karma yoga is our way. It's more practical. And Arjuna was taught what? Tasmat yudhyasra bharata. Hey, do your karma. Fighting is only incidental. Do what is to be done, because you are not ready. If he was ready, I told you, second chapter Gita would have been over. There would be no 18 chapters. Fortunately, he was not ready. Otherwise, what? We wouldn't have a Gita like this. Right? But Arjuna was not a simple person. He was called Anagha all the time. One who is free from papa. But even an Arjuna who was taught by Sakshat Bhagavan Sri Krishna cannot gain it unless he is prepared. Whole Gita is over. He said, Nashto moha smritir labdaha. I got it. I'll fight now. Karishe vachanam tava. Then after some years, he said, Krishna, whatever you told me, I forgot. Can you tell me again? That is called Anugita. And then Krishna tells, what? I can't tell you all that anymore. That was that time. I will tell you something, you listen now. That you see in Mahabharata called Anugita. So I'm saying, so if you don't get it, or you thought you got it and forgot about it, you are not in bad company. You're with Arjuna, no problem. Partho vatsaha sudhi bhokta dugdham geetamritam mahat. We are all like the cows which are taking the milk which was milked by Krishna for Arjuna. Okay, so I'm saying there is no room for feeling I'm no good, I can't gain this, I'm too old. All this judgment you drop because it's about you. It's about living life meaningfully and pursuing a knowledge which has no other business except to tell you you are wonderful. So, what is the loss in studying Gita, if any? None. But it's not just a study. Whatever Gita says, Yoga Shastra, what does it say? Primarily, Sukha Dukhe Same Kritva Labha Labhau Jaya Jayau Tato Yuddha Yujyasva Naivam Papam Avapsisi. You know? Why? Because Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha Agamapainaha Anityaha Tan Titikshasva Bharata. Hey, this pleasure and pain, this pairs of opposites are how this world is. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkadaha, they will give heat and cold and pleasure and sorrow. That is how life is. Even after studying Gita, you're not going to become, you're not going to feel very hot right now in October, okay, or November. You will feel cold. If you feel cold, wear a sweater, wear a shawl, wear a monkey cap, depending on where you are. If you feel too hot, switch on the air conditioner, no problem. Titikshasva. Swamiji, there's no power. Put up with it. Titikshasva. Titiksha has a great value. Until when? Till you are able to say, that too is welcome, this too is welcome. Reasonable, to a reasonable extent. If you are able to accept the vicissitudes of life, the ups and downs, being objective. Gita is all about objectivity. Swamiji gave a title once, Yoga of Objectivity. Karma Yoga is objectivity. Because when situations come in life, what choice do you have? You have to face it. Either you face it crying and resisting it, or you face it with a smile. If not with a smile, at least not with a frown. Whatever comes to your life, it comes. Why it comes to me, why I am so unlucky, why me? This victim psychology is a problem. Understand, I'm not a victim. This is what I bargained for in my past lives. What goes around comes around. Okay? My past free will is catching up with me. I better use my free will well now. What I have is my will. Purushartha. What I really have in my hand is my free will. I should use it to a point where I don't need my free will. That is life. That is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Eka. If you don't have that one Purushartha, Anantaha. So that Purushartha is what? I want to know that truth, which is the truth of myself, which will free me. In order to do that, my means is the knowledge of who I am, given by the Shastras, coming through a guru. But to gain it, even when a guru is willing to come online and teach me, I need to be prepared. And that is my responsibility. And I have to do what it takes to grow into that person. And the means are what? Prayer. There is no karma yoga without prayer. No Ishvara, there is no karma yoga. Therefore, recognize the position, recognize the presence of Ishvara in your life. Do what has to be done. And whatever result comes, you respond to it and change. You have a goal, a goal in life. I want to gain this position. I want this promotion. I want this achievement. Please go after it. Nothing wrong with it. But do it keeping to a life of dharma. keeping to a life of dharma, because we need a relative self-esteem before you pursue Vedanta. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Nothing wrong with Kamya Karma. This is one thing which Puja Swami always said. While generally tradition will say Kamya Karma, you give up. Swamiji will say, if you have to do Kamya Karma, do it. Because you need that self-esteem. But keep dharma in you. Go one step further, not just dharma, you do it as an offering to Bhagavan. Karma Yoga. You do what is to be done, dharma, which is again a manifestation of Ishvara's order. You do it because it is to be done. You do it with means which are in keeping with dharma. When the result comes, you accept that as prasada of Ishvara. And make any changes. Tune your effort further to gain what you want. Nothing wrong with that. And if you keep doing it, this will give that maturity we need. Prasada buddhi. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma karma phala heturbhuhu mate sangosto karma. Don't become inactive. Don't give up what you have to do. Keep doing, but accept what comes. And if you need to drop a goal, drop it. Because that goal is not realistic. You discovered it's not realistic. Or it's not worthwhile. But the one goal you don't give up is moksha. Stay the course, and with yoga buddhi and the Dhyanam, which is Sankhya, there is no way but to be free, because you are already free. One only has to drop one's ignorance to recognize I am already free. So it's not something unachievable. Okay? So all of you are in this very wonderful, valuable pursuit, and my prayers that all of you should be able to sustain your inspiration, your motivation, and gain what is worthwhile gaining in life. Okay? So I thank you all for patiently listening to me. And thank you, Jay Kumar, for giving me an opportunity to share something which gives me a lot of pleasure. Okay. Thank you all. Any questions? I'll be willing to take it, Jay Kumar.
Swamiji, would you have time for a few questions?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have all the time. Depends on how much time your students have. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see here. We yeah, feel free to raise your hand or use that. Yeah, there is Vidya Parasuraman. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Yeah.
Pranams to you, Swamiji. And I have a question regarding pursuing Shastra. And I have noticed my own experience of when I pursue Shastra and when I practice meditation and all that. I have my Kamya Karmas, I mean, obligations. And I feel that a lot of times I don't feel interested in doing it. So how does one balance?
Doing the Kamya Karma.
Yes.
Okay.
So how does one balance it, you know?
See, the point is this. If you're doing it because it's your duty, see, Kamya Karma is a different thing. You use the word Kamya Karma. Kamya Karma is optional. It's never a duty.
Okay, so then I will say duty. I will
Okay.
change it to duty.
Fair enough. So if you say it's a duty, then you don't have the reason you want to go away from it is because you don't like it. Correct?
No, I just...
You feel it's coming in your way.
Yeah, I feel it's it kind of like, you know, if I look at myself, my journey itself, you know, there are a lot of things which I used to be very extremely passionately driven about. Sometimes those goals start dropping, and then I feel that there is a conflict, because sometimes it is necessary for me to continue doing it, or even you know, like being a little of a recluse, like there might be some social obligations that I have to do, but I just feel I have to be a recluse. So things like that.
See, the point is this. This knowledge will make you a recluse to some extent. That's it. That's the way it operates. It should operate that way, okay? Otherwise, I would have been in the thick of things till now. I would never have been out. There's nothing wrong with that. Because what should you pursue? What you value. If the value for something drops, you will drop it. That's natural. There's nothing wrong with that, first. Okay? Now the point is this. If it is like two minds, I want it, I don't want it, which means the clarity is still not there. Because there is a value for that too. If there's a value for something else, you have to pursue it. You can't give it up. But sometimes the value is, I really don't have value, but I'm in society. I can't just ride rough completely.
Yeah, something
Right.
like.
So to the extent you need society to be with you, you have to make your sacrifice. Okay. But I'm saying there's a distinction there between what you do just for kind of social approval in a way. And the second thing is whether society cares or not. Like, let's say you have children to take care of, or you have old parents to take care of, and you think it's your duty. It's proper. Then, that's what your prarabdha brings you. You didn't bargain for it, but that's what you get. And you have to do what has to be done. You can't run away from your responsibility. So when it's a responsibility, the growth lies in doing it with a smile, knowing that this is what Ishvara has brought me. Every situation I find myself in life is in order. It's not random. It's not arbitrary. This situation has come to me because I have worked for it in the past. Now you can work in a way that you will not end up in these. You can pray for freedom from situations. But I'm saying, if I have an old parent, I have a sibling, and I have to take care of nobody else, is it proper for me to go away from that? Is that my dharma?
No.
That question comes up. So when it's dharma, one must do. If you say, Swami, if I don't go to the Christmas party, people won't be happy. Hey, drop it. It's okay. Let them not be happy with you. You want people who are happy with you even if you don't go to Christmas parties. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. So you have to know where to cut. What can be cut without losing much. Because there's all a fear. Why should others approve of me? No, Swamiji, because if they don't approve of me, then I'll feel left out. Then you need that crutch yet. Till you need the crutch, hold on to it. So a person who recovers from a bad accident walks on a crutch for a few days. If you let him, he will use the crutch all his life. One day you have to pull the crutch from him, and he has to dodder and walk for a few minutes, and he'll learn how to walk without a crutch. You have to do that too. If there's a crutch, you'd leave it. But if it's something to be done, do it. Drop what should be dropped, but don't drop what should be done. That distinction is hard sometimes, and you have to see what's your situation and pray that Bhagavan guides you rightly in what is to be kept and what is to be dropped.
Yeah. Then one more question that I had is, I'm, I have two teenage boys, and they are at a stage where they are, they're like going to decide what they want to do in life and all that. So, it as a parent who also is pursuing Shastra, sometimes I feel there is conflict, because when I feel that I'm not giving them this knowledge, and they're going to pursue things which might make them, more engaged in pursuit of artha and all those things. So I have a conflict sometimes.
Fair enough. Now I'll address that for you. Vedanta is not for kids. Okay? It's not. You can make them generally aware of the fact that goal in life is not just wealth. It's not just something. It's very important that they do what they have to do and gain a self-esteem. If you draw them towards it, and suppose they really took your advice and gave their studies, it won't be good. It'll be disaster. Okay? Most likely. Some may be an exception, but generally it can end up as a disaster. So See, the fact that you are studying at your age, the fact that you are dropping things, you don't have to say anything. Your children will learn. They will learn by seeing you, not by you're telling them to drop anything. They have to learn that it's not needed. No forcible dropping of nothing. Let them be people who pursue success in life as they know it. But make them see that success has to be with dharma. Dharma's importance you highlight. Make them see that there is something called moksha. That's enough.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Haraprasad, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Namaste, Maharaj.
Namaste.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Let me, before you started your talk today, you said a prayer, Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti. What is the purpose of that? Is that the tradition or is there any meaning to that?
Of course, there's a meaning to it. And it's also a tradition.
Okay.
Right? See, a prayer is an acknowledgement of the presence of Ishvara,
Correct.
without whose blessings nothing works.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
A prayer can be any prayer. It need not be the specific prayer. Okay? But this specific prayer is, the meaning is, Ishvaraha Guruhu Atma iti Murti Bheda Vibhagine. There is one reality which alone shows up as Ishvara in the form, in your mind, as Ishvara, all powerful, all knowledge.
Okay.
Me, the individual, and the Guru who is teaching me the equation between all knowledge and small knowledge.
I agree.
All these three are but the manifestations of one reality,
Correct.
who I worship as the form of Lord Dakshinamurti.
Correct.
So, Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagamne Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya, one whose presence pervades everything, like sky, like space. To that Lord, my salutation. So,
Okay.
this is a very, very beautiful shloka in the tradition. And this shloka is considered to be the entire meaning of the Shastra. So, it's a prayer. At the same time, it is indicating the subject matter of what we are going to study.
Agreed, Maharaj. My question is, again, the power of prayer. So the power has both a drushtapala and a adrushtapala. A prayer has both a drushtapala and adrushtapala. So when we pray something, it is at the end, suppose there is a petition, you are doing it to the god or goddess.
Yeah.
This drushtapala and adrushtapala has a bearing on the petition. So, unless and until you come to know that you and Ishvara are the same, till that point, a petition has some requirement and prayer has the solution for that. Am I okay? That means to say that, for example, in Lalita Sahasranam, we say Sarva Shakti Mayi, Sarva Mangala, Sadgati Prada.
Yeah.
When we request her for this,
Yeah.
we are putting a petition.
Okay.
And we are asking her to grant us.
Yes.
Okay. So putting a petition for a prayer is completely okay.
Is it a question or is it a statement?
It is a question that
Yeah.
putting a petition
Is it okay?
after the prayer
Yeah.
is completely okay.
Yes, it is okay.
Okay.
It
Because
is okay. See, the
okay.
point is this. Until you recognize the reality, in fact, even after recognize this reality, this individual body and mind is part of a larger order, which is Ishvara. Okay? So, when you say Sarvamangala, Sadgati Prada, Sarveshwari, Sarvamayi, you say all this in the Lalita Sahasranama. Fine. When you say Sadgati Prada, what is Sadgati? Sadgati can be going to heaven. Sadgati can be moksha.
Right.
She is the deliverer of both the results. Right? How does she deliver Sadgati? She gives you an opportunity to understand reality. Let me give another example, okay? You go to a supermarket, all right? And you have your credit card fully charged. You can buy anything you want. What you buy is your choice. Okay? Prayer is like you have currency. What you want to exchange for currency is your choice. Okay? When you say you give me moksha, she cannot give it to you like an apple. She will give it to you by putting you on the grind for a teaching. So, until you recognize the truth that you don't need anything, you are a bhakta. Bhagavad Gita will cover it in 7th chapter. The first bhakta is artaha, one who is in affliction alone prays. Second category of bhakta is called artharthi, one who wants to gain the help of Ishvara to meet certain ends. This is called artharthi, matlabi fellow. Then the third fellow is called jigyasu, one who wants to know Ishvara. And the fourth bhakta is called Jnani. Bhagavan himself talks of 4 bhaktas. Therefore, Bhagavan obviously is clearly approving an artha and artharthi. There's no doubt about it. Okay? Because these are all possibilities in his jagat, that you will feel small, you will feel wanting, and you will seek help. And who should you seek help from? Not from another fellow who is wanting, but from one who is free from want. That is Ishvara. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Udara sarve vaite. All these 4 bhaktas are wonderful. All these 4 are more exalted than a person who does not know, does not recognize the presence of Ishvara. Udara sarve vaite. But what about Jnani? Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. Jnani is indeed myself. He is never away from me. I am never away from him. So it's all in the path. No problem. Don't feel guilty about asking God for anything.
I see. Okay. So the bottom line is, after a prayer or a meditation, there is nothing wrong in asking God for help.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
If I should say what Puja Swamiji says about it, is this: intelligent living is to seek help when you need help. Okay? Intelligent living is to seek help when you need help, and to seek help from a source which has all help available, not from another limited source.
Okay.
Therefore, it's absolutely legitimate.
Dhanyavadaha Maharaj.
Oh.
Thank you, Swamiji. Vaidya. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Vaidya.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Jai Kumarji. Shankaranandaji, Namaste, Swamiji. This is Vaidyanathan. You probably recognize me from Sailorsburg.
Yes. Krishnan's brother, right?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Mind raising a camera, I see half your head is cut. That's better. Thank you. Yeah.
That's better, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I really enjoyed your Pravachan today, and the satsang is also nice. I don't want to take up too much time. I just wanted to offer my namaskaram to you. My daughter Shruti also gives her namaskaram to you. She remembers you from all the children's classes you used to teach. And my parents also gave their ashirvadam to you.
Thank you. Please wish your daughter all the best, and my regards to your parents.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vaidya. Prasad Gurajala. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Prasad. I have, I think, three questions very quickly. The first question is a common question, but it's always confuses when you take into when we discuss the mundane problems and current affairs and all. So the question is, you may not ask again, you already read the second chapter and third chapter, and you must have read this. So what is Dharma? So the insight into that would always help. In spite of that, we go through Dharma many times through not only Bhagavad Gita, outside of Bhagavad Gita. That would help us.
What is Dharma? That's a very, very difficult question. Okay, I'll tell you that. Because it is not something black and white. Okay. Dharma is really that which holds everything together. Dhriyate and Dharma. The whole order, the entire Jagat is based on Dharma. In a very broad way, I'm saying first, okay? Now, Dharma is something which is. It's not something that is man-made. Universal Dharma is something which is. What do I mean by that? If I ask you or anybody else in the universe, do you want to be heard? What's your answer? Whether you're educated, uneducated, whether in New York or whether you are in Timbuktu, what's your answer? In your language, I ask you, do you want to be heard?
No.
No. Do you think I want to be heard? What's your answer?
No.
No. Right? I ask, do you want to be lied to? You ask me a question, I'll lie back to you. I'll give you a false answer. Do you want that? No. Do you want to be cheated?
No.
Do you want to be taken for a ride? No. Do I have to teach you this or any human being? Do I?
No.
Anyone who grows up in any situation, does he or does he not know this inherently? Unless they are brainwashed. Unless they're indoctrinated to think differently. The indoctrination, unfortunately, is part of many of the religious traditions today, where they say, if a believer is all fine, non-believer is fair game. They call Dharma as a faith. You see how I present the Dharma, not a faith, it's a fact. Nobody can sense what is not. If you sense, if you sense air and I sense air, we sense it because it is. Correct? If you sense heat and I sense heat because it is. Similarly, if you and I sense certain values universally, it has to be what? A presence. Correct? Therefore, Dharma is something which is. It is a manifestation of Ishvara. To be appreciated in my own heart, in my own mind. Universal Dharma. Then there is a Vishesha Dharma, which is human beings. What is a human being? A person endowed with free will. Correct? What is free will? What is freedom? That which can be abused is freedom. Otherwise, there's no freedom. Right? And if you can abuse freedom, then you need, as human beings, we all want to live life in a particular way without being too disturbed. Then you need certain mechanisms to check the abuse. And we agree to certain conventions. Like I say, this house belongs to you. This house belongs to me. This house I rent, this house I own. If you don't have this vyavastha, nobody can rent a house. And nobody can build a house because I will come tomorrow and say, you move out, it's mine. Therefore, human beings have created their own framework, right? Which should be in keeping with universal dharma, which is given. And together these two become Samanya and Vishesha Dharma. And this you conform to. And the Vishesha Dharma has also a jurisprudence in a law. So if you don't follow it, somebody can take you to court and get you justice. But that justice may or may not work. It may be all loaded. Even Supreme Court, as you know, is loaded with right people. You know it very well. So the whole point is, I'm saying, you talk of how to stack the benches. I am in power right now, so I'll put everybody in there. All Democrats, all Republicans. I'm assuming you're in the US. Yeah. So if that is how things are working, then I'm saying, what is justice? It's a joke or what? A justice is biased already. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. It doesn't make sense. But I'm saying, this is human dharma. When it comes to the actual thing, in Ishvara's dharma, the order, there's no escaping. That is why I said, whatever you go through today, you have earned it. It's your own abuse of past evil that brings you to difficulty today. So that is dharma. So dharma, basic dharma is, ahimsa paramo dharma. Non-hurting anybody, including yourself, is the dharma. And if you press that, you will see what every other dharma is. Speaking harshly hurts. Cheating hurts. Stealing hurts. Insulting hurts. Everything comes from ahimsa. That's the basic thing. Samanya dharma. And then you have to drive, on the right side of the road or the left side of the road is Vishesha dharma. All right.
Yeah. So can I take that? So the easiness and existence itself is dharma.
Existence of what you see. Easiness, if you say Satyam Jnanam Anantam, it says Satyam is dharma. No, that's not dharma. That is nirguna. Here I'm talking of what you sense as proper, as a human being who is not indoctrinated, whose mind is not corrupted. That is dharma. And that dharma is restated in the Dharma Shastra. Restated, if necessary, in the Veda, in the Yoga Shastras. We don't say 10 commandments were given by somebody. You don't need anybody to give you those commandments. They are there, inbuilt in your heart. But because there is a possibility of your going astray, they are restated by Shastra. Anuvada, not Pramana. So it's not just existence. It is existence of these values which you think are universal. That is Samanya Dharma. Vishesha Dharma depends on place and time, and every society can have its own code of law. Somebody in the desert thinks that if you steal, your hand should be cut. That's their Vishesha Dharma.
My second question, Swamiji, is that in a deep sleep state, the subtle body, the causal body, will be in a seed form, right? Once it sprouts back to the subtle body. Now, when we move on to forming the next name and form, why do we say that the subtle body, which is moved on, has both subtle and causal along with it? Now, when I say earlier, the causal is like a seed form which has sprouted into a subtle body. If I'm clear on the question.
Your question essentially is, what is the need for a causal body? Is that your
So
question?
in other words, it is, when its seed has become sprouted already, which is a subtle body, which includes the mind, all the parts of the subtle part of the mind, and the consciousness, reflective consciousness. So why we call causal body? Because it is one and the same, in other words, though it is a separate definition.
Is there a difference between the seed and the sprout?
Well, in physical form, yes.
No. Point is this: is there a difference between seed and sprout? Answer yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
For me, yes.
Then you are acknowledging that there is something called cause and something called subtle.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now understand one more thing. Is there anything away from its cause?
No.
No. So without a cause, there is no effect. Right? So when you're talking of subtle body, see, this body business is all funny, okay? Sharira. Sanskrit is Sharira. What is Sharira? Shiryamanatvat Sharira. That which is subject to disintegration is Sharira, okay? So what is causal body? What is karma sharira? It is avidya. It is no body really. It is just avidya. It is that due to which you continue to identify with this. That is what is causal. Okay. See, this causal, subtle, etc. Don't get too involved into that detail. Generally, it doesn't work much. It doesn't help because you're not going to get more out of it. That's what my suggestion to you is. Understand, it's a model to explain what is. Okay. The truth is only one. If you can understand that without even getting into this model, wonderful. But the mind won't listen. It wants to know why all this. Therefore, you have to give a model. But you know what? This Jagat, if we say, is Maya Karyam. Okay? Magic. It's like magic. You don't question or try to know more about magic. It will always be mysterious at some point. You understand the magician. That's the best way to go. How much ever you question this Jagat, they will always, it will yield something which you have to again question. It will yield something you have to question again. You go from the gross to subtler. You have gone now to, whatever, subatomic particles. But are they done? Physicists, they are looking for a God particle still. And I'll tell you, any number of years, they will find one more particle and call it God particle for a while. Then they will say, that is not God particle, there's one more particle. Yeah. This is how Maya is. How much ever you peel off, there'll be one more layer. Okay. So understand this model and see that what it means is this. What is it that makes a difference between a person dying as a jnani and a person dying as an ajnani? As a jnani, that causal body is also gone. What you call causal body. But an ajnani, it can do. So is the causal body there or not? If there is no cause, there is no subtle. That's all. That much you understand. Because if there is no causal body, I will tell you one more thing. There is no causal body, so-called causal body. Then, when you slept, you are free or not? There is no ajnana. So when you wake up, you'll be free or not? If the fellow who slept is free, the fellow who wakes up should be free. Why is he not free? Because karana is still there. Okay? Ignorance. And that karana will only go with jnana. This is how we present it. It's a model.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay, thank you, Swamiji.
Satya Chilukuri, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Quite often I hear the main purpose of karma yoga is purification of mind, and it's a little difficult concept for me. I understand there is a cognitive shift that takes place with the karma yoga. How does that happen, and what is the methodology for that cognitive shift to take place?
See, when you use the word cognitive shift, that is more at the level of buddhi, understanding. Okay? We all see in our life that though you have value for something and you see something is right or this is to be done, we are unable to do it. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What makes that happen? We seem to be caught up in multiple values at times. Right? And there are things which you clearly identify, this is not becoming, this is not helping me, I want to get rid of it. For example, do I want to be angry with somebody? Do you ever choose to be angry? No. But are you free from anger?
Yes.
You are not. Right? So what is it that accounts for anger? Something accounts for it, right? Cognitively, if I ask you, do you want to be angry? Do you want to be upset? No. Then why do you get angry? You are helpless. Right? And it is within the human psychology to get angry. Nothing wrong with that. But then there is an emotional component, which we call manas, which is not directly working with your cognitive faculty. Okay. So cognitively you say, you listen to Gita and you say, yes, there is nothing to be gained. All this is temporary. It's all no fun. But do you change? Does your life change?
It is supposed
A
to
little
bring
it
in.
may.
Yes.
A little it will. But I'm saying, fundamentally, you hold on to your identity of a small person. I'm saying, all these to go, just a cognitive understanding does not really change your personality. You take it for granted. It won't happen. It requires you to do. Suppose you say, suppose you say, I have a value for helping others. Everybody in the community should do well. Okay? And you are an armchair philosopher. If you say that, you will find that the philosophy will stay with you, but you will not do any community work. When will you really make that change? When you go out to the field and do something with your hands. An action brings about a real transformation in your transformation. You have to act on what you think. Thinking is like, idle philosophy at times. So this karma yoga is a phenomenal method because it says that you have raga dvesha. We all have raga dvesha. That's our capital, seed capital. You can't come without it. No industry starts without seed capital. So you have raga dvesha. You have tendencies. And I want to outgrow them. How do you outgrow them? I want to outgrow them. You won't outgrow them. If it was for want of wanting, I would not be wanting today. I know that I want to be free from them, but I'm helpless. Then how do I get out of it? So the mantra is, you have a value for it. And even if you can't right now, clench your fist. No, clench your teeth, not your fist. Clench your teeth if necessary and do what is to be done. What you would do if you had that value. Swamiji's phrase is, fake it to make it if necessary. That's the way to grow. So Karma Yoga will bring about a real attitudinal change, which won't come by just reading. No cognitive shift alone will do the job. And that will give you an emotional maturity, which won't come with just a thinking faculty. So to free oneself from the binding likes and dislikes is not a joke. It requires twofold effort. It requires a cognitive shift. It also requires this inertia in the mind, which needs to be undone, needs to be changed. So that's how I understand it.
Thank you. The second question is, quite often they use meditation and contemplation for nididhyasana. What's your perspective on the difference between those two terms, meditation and contemplation?
Okay. So you are using the word meditation as something different from nididhyasana. Am I correct?
I see the nididhyasana is used both for meditation as well as contemplation. I suspect there is some difference between those meditation and contemplation. But in my Vedantic point of view, what's the difference?
Fair enough. See, the words are technical. If you use the word nididhyasana, it's very technical. Basically, contemplation or dhyanam is defined as what? Is defined as staying with one thought for a length of time. Or to improve on it further, it is saguna brahma vishayaka manasa vyapara. It is not just any thought, staying with Ishvara in view for a length of time. Through an altar or through an alambana, which may be a form, a sound form, or a physical form, or a visual form. And you maintain one thought for a length of time. So you chant, it's like Om Ishaya Namaha, Om Ishaya. So the mind will stay at one thought. All right. Why should I do this? Because you're trying to gain a mind which can stay with what you want to do for a length of time. So free will is not free when it goes wherever it wants to go. Who is free, you or your mind? Do you follow the mind or the mind follows you? It's like a tail wagging the dog. That's what normally happens.
Yes.
Now, do you want your mind to wag you or you want to wag your mind? You want to manage your mind, which means you have to train yourself to handle your mind. That process is a basic process. That's what is one of the outcomes of the basic process of Dhyanam, a japa Dhyanam. Right? Now, in Shastra, we say there is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Shravana is listening to the teaching with an open mind. Then there are, and you understand what the teaching is trying to say. Then there are doubts. Teaching says this, I understand, but I don't think it is so. Why? Because I have a doubt. I have this counterpoint. To deal with those is technically called mananam. That can be translated as contemplation. First, dhyanam also can be contemplated. Same word can have multiple meanings. That is called mananam. Now, whatever is said in mananam or shravanam, if it is very clear to you and you see it as daylight without thinking, that becomes nididhyasana. Okay? So if I tell you, your, nityam, sukham, satchidanandoham, if I make that statement, and you would say, what does it mean? You have to still do shravana. If you have a doubt and you're looking, why I can be nityam and why not I'm anitya, I am in this body, that is called mananam. And if your mind is without a process of thinking, if you're completely in sync with Satchidananda Rupoham, that is Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is purely to address a habitual error in thinking. I have taken myself all my life to be an idiot. I continue to take myself an idiot. No. I have understood from Shastra. I have removed my doubts. Now I remove that old way of thinking because it's just habitual. I have been driving in the US for 25 years. I come to India and straight away take the right side of the road. Habitual, not that you don't know. Therefore, this habitual error removing can only be done through a practice to undo the old habit. That undoing the old habit, not learning anything new, is called Nididhyasanam. Removing doubts about what I have understood is called Mananam. Is that clear?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Swamiji, sorry, I was on mute. There are two more people who have raised their hands. Do you have
I'm
time?
fine to answer.
Do you have another 5 minutes to stay, Swamiji? It's already 8:20.
I told you, I have time. It depends on how much people. I have nothing to do. I'm a sadhu. I have no job.
Okay, Dr. Manjula Shivashankar. Go ahead and unmute yourself first.
Swamiji,
Yes.
I want to think that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the Atma. But my physical ailments are little more than what I think of. So
could you start again with your question? I missed the first couple of words.
I want to think that I am not the body, I am
You
not
want
the
to
mind.
say it? Are you saying I want to think? What did you say? You want to?
Myself all
No,
the
you
time.
want to what? What's the word after that? You want to?
I am the Atma. I want to go little by little towards the Atma, what I don't know much, with all this buddhi and jnana. But the body creatures, the muscles pain, the joints pain, I can't have the yogasana. Because when I'm going in this path, the body is creature. It is paining. How do I get out of this?
The body is given. Okay. Its age is given. Its disabilities are given. Medicine to treat it to some extent is given. Prayer to try and address it at another level is also given. Okay. But all said and done, physical pain is not something that you can wish away. Okay. You have to be, ultimately you have to see that pain is also a manifestation of you. It's not other from you. It's not that pain will go, then you will own up, I am Atma. Okay, I ask you right now, is the pain always there? Right now, is it there? Yes, no. You're not muted. You're muted probably. Please unmute yourself.
Muted.
Yes, yes, it is there, Prabhuji. It is there.
Okay. But what I'm saying is this. Is it always there? Was it there all through the class? Or your mind was in the class?
The body, it keeps changing the positions. And
No, what I'm saying to you is this. The pain, when is the pain there? The pain is there, but you pay attention to it, then the pain becomes very, very acute to you, right? Suppose something you love happens. At that moment, you're not identified. You'll smile too. Do you smile? I'm sure you do. You
yes.
laugh heartily too. Sometimes, right?
Yes.
At that time, what happens? That identity with that pain is not there. See, pain you cannot wish away. I told you, you can address it to the extent you can, but you can't wish away. But that does not mean you have to postpone your moksha for another janma. That's not necessarily true.
Okay.
The pain will definitely have a negative bearing on what you can and cannot do. True. You cannot sit in yogasana. True. No problem. But there is no rule you must sit in a particular posture. Sthira sukham asanam. You sit in a posture in which you're comfortable. Can you do that?
Yes.
That's enough for yasana. Are you able to sit for a length of time in a posture which you don't get bothered with? Good enough. Do that.
Okay.
All right. And I'm saying, rather than, see, there is a resistance to the body being what it is. There is a regret for the body being what it is. There's a non-acceptance of the body as of now, in my mind. Now, you need to start seeing that this is also Ishvara's prasada. You cannot do anything with it. This is how it is. Do everything you can to make your situation better, to ameliorate it. But you cannot wish away the body's difficulties. It's not in your hand. What is not in your hand, what is given is Ishvara. What little is given is my free will, that's all. Nothing else is given real. I mean, nothing else is really mine. Everything else is given. Even free will is within Ishvara's order. When I say order, I mean there is a framework which you operate within. You don't create the framework. The framework, you have to operate within the framework. The framework is this body and mind. Therefore, we have to make use of the framework we are in. You can't change the framework. That's not part of the game. Right? Therefore, you learn to now say, love your body the way it is. Accept it. Love means accept it. This is how Bhagavan has made this body now. Either it was given like this or I abused it and got it into this shape. It doesn't matter which way it is. Now it's a fact. Now it's a fact. You cannot wish it away. The problem really is not with the body. The problem is with the resistance to that body.
Yes.
Drop that resistance. How do you drop that resistance? Not by wishing I want to drop it. It takes time. You have to own it up and say, this body is not just my body. Any other body which had the same physical characteristics, same wear and tear, would have felt the same pain. It's not something made for me, made for order. This is how Ishvara's order is. Anybody with this kind of a body, this age, with so many childbirths, all that happened, this is how the body would be. That's cause and effect law. It's a law. I can't change the law, right? So, okay, let this body be. I am not in pain. The body is in pain. Localize it. This is the first step in meditation. You do Sharira Vikshanam. You look at the body and you say, this part of the body hurts. I'm objective to it. I'm not hurting now. This part of the body hurts. You're not in pain. Okay? You look at it. You objectify everything. It's not going to take away your pain, but it may help you create that space wherein you will be able to move further. And we have to learn to do that because until we do that, this becomes our stumbling block. It's not easy. I'm not trying to in any way take away the difficulty that you're facing. There is truth in what you're saying. If I had a pain, I would also say what you're saying. But we have to, instead of just staying with it and saying, this is my roadblock and I can't move further until I get another body, is a waste of my buddhi. So instead of resisting it, instead of complaining, or instead of, crying about it and regretting what I have done with my body, I say, this is a fact now. A fact is Ishvara. I can't change it. Now what can I do? I can't change a fact. What can I do now? That's the question. Your question always has to be, now what can I do? Whatever you can do, you do. Rather than saying, this happened, why this body is like this, why I should have had this, why I didn't come to Vedanta earlier. All this won't help. Whole past has to be accepted as Ishvara. And if you find trouble doing it, pray to the same Ishvara, help me accept my past, help me accept my body as it is. If you're a person who is more religious, we do this in Rudram, etc. Prajanane Brahma Tishtatu, Padayor Vishnus Tishtatu, Hastayor Haras Tishtatu. You see the presence of Bhagavan in every part of the body. It's Bhagavan blessing the body in that way. You see presence of Ishvara. It's not easy. But as Swamiji used to say, when you can see the presence of Ishvara in your pains, in your travails, then you're done. Then you're done. Okay?
Thank you.
I hope you feel better, and I hope your physical ailment also reduces. But I'm saying, to the extent it doesn't leave you, accept it without resisting it too much.
Yes, sir.
Don't talk about it to everybody, saying, look, I have pain here, I have pain there. The more you focus on it, the more you will be stuck with it.
Yes.
I'm not saying run away from it. Don't try to distract from yourself. Distraction won't work. Obsession won't work. Acceptance will work. Okay?
Thank you, Swami. Thank you, Swami. Dr. H.S. Ramesh, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste.
This is a beautiful presentation of, you covered so many things in a short time. And also it touched the medical also. I practice pain, taking care of the pain patients 25 years. I felt like that I'm talking to one of my patients. You should have been the patient.
Don't make me a patient. I don't want pain.
That is very fascinating, the way you brought Sanatana Dharma or Vedantic perspective of managing the pain. I really appreciate.
No, you should not put it in that container. Don't put it in the container of Dharma. It is the reality. We are not talking any Dharma. We are talking reality. That way you relate to any religion, any culture. Pain has no culture. Pain has no religion. So you hold on to that as a reality.
That
will help more. It's
My
not
question
unique to us. Anybody who is open to the reality can discern this.
My question is simple. How do you attain the Jivan Mukti or Moksha?
By knowing that there is no moksha, there is no bandha. This is what it is. You have to know. You're saying, how do I attain? Which means you are bound right now. You're limited right now. Correct?
Yes.
You want something to be different right now. I ask you, what is bondage for you? You want mukti. What is binding you? Please tell me.
Nothing.
If nothing is binding, you're already free.
Yeah, I think ignorance about...
Don't use Shastra's words, okay? I am asking you, just as a plain human being, what is it that you want to be free from?
Free from the materialistic attachment.
See, materialistic again is a programming of the mind. You heard things and you're saying materialistic. What is wrong with material? Do you want a beautiful house or you don't want it? Why did you work 25 years as a doctor? To not have a material life or to have some material? Material is material. It is not immaterial. Isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm asking you, what's the reality? What do you want to be free from?
I want to have a peace of mind.
So you want to be free from disturbance of the mind. Okay, what else?
That's it. I have everything.
Okay, you have everything. Good. Now, why is the mind disturbed? Because you're a physician, so we have to go diagnostic, we have to go step by step. Where does the problem lie? Can it be solved? Can it not be solved? It's a physician's view.
It can be solved.
Which means you're saying that the problem which can be removed. So where is the problem? Have you diagnosed it?
In a way, yes. I'm in the process of diagnosing.
Okay. So what's your diagnosis? Tentative diagnosis.
My technical diagnosis is I am hungry to learn in depth about our.
Hey, that's not a disease. You're talking of the remedy already. I'm asking you, what's the diagnosis of the disease?
I don't think I have the diagnosis.
Then you can't treat it. Can you treat a patient without knowing what he's suffering from?
I'm going to run some testing. That's what.
But you keep running your test till you find out what's the disease.
Yes.
Now, I ask, this is what is taught in Mundakopanishad. Parikshalokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirvedamayat nastya krita kritena. You have to examine this patient, which is yourself,
yes,
till you zero in on the disease. And the disease is you are trying to achieve that peace of mind by taking things, by depending on the world. By changing the world around, you want to gain this peace of mind. And if you go a little further, you want to change your mind to gain peace of mind. Both these will not work. This is the diagnosis. It won't work. So whenever I'm in peace, it is not because of the world. It is not because of my mind. I am at peace because I'm at peace. Because I'm not disturbed. Because I accept what is. I accept myself in the face of what is. Which means whenever I'm happy because I'm myself. That's the reality. Because when you're happy, you don't want the world to be any different from what it is. At that moment of joy, whole world is the same, but you're happy.
Yes.
Which means at that moment, that window to see that your happiness does not depend on anything except just being.
Really?
If that is true, then why am I running after changing everything? Because of my notion that, I became happy because this patient became well. I became happy because, my daughter got married. This is all how the mind thinks. And it is true that when your daughter's marriage is fixed, there's a relief. That burden goes. Why that burden was there? Because you assumed the burden. Every burden is assumed. And for that assumed burden, it needs an assumed release. When you recognize that the whole problem is centered on mind demanding, you stop demanding, you're free here and now. You're demanding your mind should be peaceful. That's your problem right now. Stop demanding, you'll be free. Accept the mind with its disturbance. But can I? I can't. That's the problem. Therefore, problem is cognitive. The real diagnosis is there is no disease. But I think I'm diseased. That is called psychosomatic. You think you have a disease. What should I do to you? I have to send you to a psychotherapist. If you send her there, he will tell you the problem is your mother. She gave it to you. So the problem is shifted from you to your mother. It doesn't solve the problem. Your mother is still another being. Then when he can't solve the problem, you come to Vedanta. Then we'll tell you, your mother also doesn't have a problem. You also don't have a problem. You just don't know what you are. You are not your mind, Dr. Ramesh. Dr. Ramesh is you, but you are not Dr. Ramesh.
Yes.
That is what will give you the freedom. And that requires you to not make a statement. See, because what has to be told has already been told hundreds of times, but it doesn't enter. It's just a piece of knowledge, like this bone is called phalanges. That knowledge you have from anatomy. That is not Vedanta. Vedanta is not like knowledge of anatomy or physiology. Vedanta is about me. And unless that knowledge strikes deep in me, it won't make a difference. And while I'm talking to you so passionately, I'll tell you, I'm not free from all the problems you mentioned. I also see them and I have to again remove that idea of, oh, I'm again misidentifying. That's the life. You have to correct your thinking. Thinking alone is a problem. Wrong thinking is problem. Right thinking is a solution. So there is no moksha, no bandha really. But if you say there's a bandha, they'll say there's a moksha. All right, think about it.
Very, very interesting analysis. Thank you. Very interesting analysis. I'll try to analyze, and then maybe next time we will discuss about in detail.
Sure.
Thank you.
Swamiji, there was a feedback here, and feedback says excellent section, Swamiji, and we request one more session later whenever Swamiji is free to give some more inputs, and so that those of us who did not have an opportunity to ask questions can also get that opportunity. That was the feedback that was sent here, Swamiji.
Thank you. You decide, you choose when and how you want to do it, okay?
So we'll have one last question. We'll have one last question from Sri Vidya Sudhakaran. Vidyaji, I see you raise your hands, but I think you got an opportunity. So I am go ahead and unmute yourself, Sri Vidya.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaste, ma.
This is in continuation to Mrs. Vidya Parashuraman's question. As one who is in this family life, and my children are grown up, but I've been into learning, or at least hearing Shastram, Upanyasams and everything for the last 4 years. Now I'm shifting towards whatever I do. I don't involve myself. I feel that I don't get full involvement in whatever I do, but I do my duties. But it is felt by my family members also. They say that you don't have involvement, so that you don't have you haven't done this fully, and also that brings a guilt feeling in me. Is it good, or should I have, not that I really care about that, but how to avoid that?
Fact is, you really care about it. Otherwise, you won't ask. You're just whitewashing it right now.
Okay.
Whenever you say we don't care about something, you know you care about it deeply. That's the reality.
Okay.
Okay. So fact is this. If what you're doing is not done well, people will observe and people will ask. It's fair, right? Now the point is, whatever you consider your duty, you do it with passion. Do it not because for your ego gratification. Do it because you see in what is to be done is Ishvara's doing.
Okay.
Which means that when I do something which is to be done by me, that is how I contribute to the society, to the universe that I am in. I am one of the, as with this body, identified with this body, I am one of the pieces in this massive universe. And every piece in this universe has been put in place for a reason. It's not arbitrary. Therefore, if Bhagavan has put you down and made you a mother, he has made you a mother and you have a duty towards your children. No question about it.
Yes.
But children are grown up. They are not children anymore. So your duty to, take care of their nappies is over. That's over. Now the question is, what is it your duty? We have to again examine, right? And you cannot probably see when a child is being breastfed, you don't one fine day stop breastfeeding and go away. You wean it, right? Same way, you may have to wean people away from the perceived responsibilities you have, if you don't believe it is yours. But if you take something as a responsibility, Don't do it half-heartedly, do it wholeheartedly. Because by doing that, you are gaining Antahkarana Shuddhi. It's an offering. You're saying this is to be done by me. What is to be done by me means it is Ishvara's order that I must do this because I'm in that position. So you do it right. But what is your duty is a very, very sticky and difficult question. Very difficult to understand. Therefore, I pray to Bhagavan that may I have the right understanding of what is my duty. What is it I should do? Only Bhagavan can help me there. Because all my knowledge, all my learning is colored by my own biases. Ragadvesha is bias. It's a coloration of the mind. It's like wearing dark glasses and trying to see what color is the light outside. It'll look blind, it'll look blackish. And I don't know how to take off my glasses. They're sewed into my eyes almost. So I need prayer. I also need this Shastra exposure. They will all come together. Right? But to the extent that you feel guilty, either you clear it for yourself and your family. Look, this is how I see right now my life, right? Therefore, I want to focus on this. But when you do something for the family, do it with all your mind. When it is done, clean cut off, move away. Don't expand it. So suppose, there's a festival. I'm just making up an example. There's a festival. And normally you cook 15 items. Now you don't feel like doing that. You cook 5. Fair. But you can say, look, this cooking and eating we have done all our life. It doesn't enthuse me any much. So you can see if there is buy-in. But it is harder if others in the family expect you to be the same person, which is quite common. Because others haven't grown with you. They want you to remain the old person and you want to move on. There is always a little of a gap there.
Friction.
It will be there. And to have a supportive family all the way is your punya if you have it. It doesn't happen automatically. Understand that's also given in your prarabdha.
Yes.
You have to work within that. Because you want to be free from conflicts, inner conflicts. Guilt is an inner conflict. Okay. So guilt comes because you think you should do it and you haven't done it. First, be clear you don't have to do it. Then there is no guilt. Then only others have to be answered. You are not guilty. But if you are guilty, you can't answer them with straight face. So first examine whether what you're doing is right or not right. If it is right, then you are free from guilt at least. That's the minimum. Now it's a question of selling your idea to the others. But then there may be hurt in them. You're not guilty, but they're hurt. Possible.
Yes, Guruji. Yes.
And to get rid of their hurt is their responsibility, not yours. But you can behave in a way where you minimize the hurt. It's important not to be hurting. Ahimsa paramo dharma. But that doesn't mean it should not hurt you either. Not hurting others is not the only goal. Not hurting yourself is equally important.
Yeah, Guruji, then this is the problem with me. See, when I say that I'm not here to tell you and make you understand what I am going through or what I am doing, they seem hurt. Like, but I tell them that I'm not hurting you, but I don't care whether you understand it or not. But how to make them understand that this is my path, and sometimes I don't feel like doing some things what they want me to do.
No, how do you make them understand what?
If they say that I'm not doing it wholeheartedly, if they say, but I feel that I have done my duties perfectly, but they still expect.
If you have done it perfectly, you can tell them, look, I am doing it with my whole heart. You don't perceive it that way. I'm sorry. You can say that potentially. But look, you yourself seem to say in the beginning that you are not, your heart is not in it. If that is true, they will perceive it. You can't lie. Okay, they will see. They have seen you 25 years. They will see what changed now. They will see it. So you can't give a story. It has to be truth. But if the people in the family are open to listening, you can say, look, I had a value for it and a passion for it. Now I don't have the same passion. That's okay to say. It's a truth. See, there is no remedy, there is no textbook remedy for this, because it depends on your family situation, depends on how others are, what is their background. Impossible to answer this for anybody else. You have to work your own way. But guidance is the form of Shastra. And I would say one more thing, if you haven't done so, Puja Swamiji's meditations are phenomenal. Okay. And there's a book called Prayer and Meditation. I think it's called Morning Meditation and Prayers. Okay. Get it, read it. See how to accept yourself. That self-acceptance is very important. It will make a difference. Okay. And this all these people around you, you have to work, because they're tied to you in life. You can't do much with that. You can't wish them away. So learn to make peace. And where you have to draw a boundary, draw a boundary. You have to learn to draw boundaries. I will do this. I will not do this. Be calm. Don't get angry. I understand you want me to be different, but right now I have to spend time on this as well. This is what I can do right now. I'm growing old. My energy is also failing, and my values are changing. I have discovered value in something more than just eating and drinking or doing chores. I need this time, but this much I will do. Please tell me how I can do it better for you. This is my boundary. Draw a boundary if it's allowed. If it's not allowed, I can't help you there, because I said each household is different. So it's impossible for me to give a general advice. Impossible. And even with very well-meaning people who are married 60 years, still there is areas where they don't agree. I've seen that too. In my own house, I've seen it. So it's very difficult to give any solution. We are faced with situation, we have to find solution within the problem, and see what we can do. Pray. If nothing, pray for it. That will help you get over your difficulties.
Thank you.
Pray for an acceptance of what is, and the inspiration or the knowledge to see how you can address what you need to address. Pray for that. It will bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah.
I think, Swamiji, everybody is really inspired by your talk. And I think the connection between Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, sometimes we say it's different, but really, what is the connection between the two? And yet, Sankhya Prakyate, that Yoga Irapi Gamyate. So both are really leading to that same so-called destination. I think at the end, you also mentioned to Rameshji's question, why do you want moksha, and what is your problem? I think I like that very much. So you've assumed a burden, therefore there is an assumed solution also.
Yeah, because a lot of us, we heard something called moksha, that one more thing we want. It doesn't work that way. Moksha is the only thing. There's nothing else. That's when moksha makes sense. Otherwise, it makes no sense. It's not one more thing. So,
thank you.
Very good question, and people have been very attentive. I was very happy to talk to all of them. It's a pleasure to have an informed audience, and that credit goes to you to create an informed audience.
So, or maybe they don't have anything else to do. I don't know, Swamiji, but so, but they've been all consistently attending for the last 1 year, which also surprises me. And so I used to tell them, in this day and age where you can simply tune off, and there's so many online classes going on, and so I'm also happy that they're seriously following the teaching, and I'm following Puja Swamiji's methodology of teaching and so forth. So it's helping me also a lot.
Good.
So there is a request for everybody to have you once again here, Swamiji. So we'll definitely pray for that opportunity, Swamiji.
Want to close the prayer?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Swamiji, we do chant this Dhanvantri mantra 3 times. Last few months we've been doing it.
Go ahead.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanathaye Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanathaye Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanathaye Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Okay. So I've allowed all of you to unmute yourself if you want. Thank you all very much, and thanks to Swami.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji.
Thank you very much.
Swamiji. Dhanyawada, Jayakumar.
Thank you.
Swamiji, you may have to unmute yourself. Swamiji, you may have to unmute yourself.
Swamiji.
All right.
Swamiji, one request. At least once a month, could you please do this one? Enlighten us.
Jay Kumar is enlightening every day. He doesn't say anything different from what I do, I'm sure.
Thank you.
No, I said, look, if it's something that helps you and if it fits in your schedules, whenever I can, I'll be happy to. I have nothing to lose by spending time with you. I will leave it to how it works out.
Thank you.
Swami. Thank you, Swami.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Touched our hearts.
I'm going to log off now, yeah?
Yes, Swami. Thank you, Swami.
Thank you.